grip's a gamble. Tires squeal, hearts race, this leads to scandal. Full throttle, no brakes, chasing that checkered. Drafted lines tighter than a bank teller's ledger. Turn 4 is a monster, jaws wide like a gator. Pit stop, quick cruise, move sharp as a razor. Adrenaline pumps, veins fuel injected. Outlaws on the track, chaos perfected. Full throttle kings, we don't slow down. Ripping through the night, owning this town. Gas to the floor, the crowd gets loud. Outlaws racing, we're born unbound. Smoke trails curl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump traps, link shot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump traps, link shot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Slow trails curl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump traps, link shot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump traps, link shot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Engines scream, asphalt burns, the grip's a gamble. Tires squeal, hearts race, this leads to scandal. Full throttle, no brakes, chasing that checkered. Drafted lines tighter than a bank teller's ledger. Turn 4 is a monster, jaws wide like a gator. Pit stop, quick cruise, move sharp as a razor. Adrenaline pumps, veins fuel injected. Outlaws on the track, chaos perfected. Full throttle kings, we don't slow down. Ripping through the night, owning this town. Gas to the floor, the crowd gets loud. Outlaws racing, we're born unbound. Smoke trails curl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump traps, link shot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump traps, link shot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rumble here this evening from the beautiful Chicagoland Speedway. This is going to be another fun night filled with absolutely amazing racing action here this evening in the Full Throttle Outlaws Racing League. As the Full Throttle Outlaws get ready to go to battle, they get ready to duke it out here in this one. Each driver is going to get their opportunities here to run a couple laps, try to lay down a quick time here, hoping to put themselves into a good starting spot. As of right now, it is Tristan Kyle with the quick time here in qualifying. As David Traylor jumps up into third, it's Kyle Ramirez, David Traylor 1, 2, and 3 here in qualifying. Looks like Callaway will stay in the 8th position, as Clinton Woodby and Matt Hayden round out our top 5. Joe Yakes and Keith Prince there in 6th and 7th. Philip Toscano back in position number 9, and Evan Schilling gonna round out our top 10. Michael Yakes, Gregory Wood Sr., Skylar Berry, and Colton Hardy going to round out our 14 drivers here this evening, as it doesn't look like Berry or Colton Hardy are going to take laps here to start this A-main feature event, or to at least getting qualifying laps in. Qualifying about to come to a close. Unfortunately, both drivers still down pit side and not out there on the speedway, so they will start at the back of the pack here in this one. For what will be 100 laps of amazing racing action for each and every one of these drivers, they know that they got their work cut out for them. They got 100 laps. We'll have a stage break at lap number 20, and we got 4 sets of tires, so virtually you kind of want to break this race into a couple different groupings here. You kind of want to run, I'm going to say, you're going to want to run probably 20 laps. If you have 4 sets back behind pit wall, you're going to run 20 laps, 20 laps, 20 laps, 20 laps potentially, or try to break it into 4s. We're doing 25, 25, 25 here in this one, and trying to save a set for late in this race. That is, I think, the goal for a lot of these drivers. Always going to have 1 extra set back behind pit wall. If there's a late race caution flag, you need that to your ability to try to work forward and try to put yourself into a winning situation. I think that's what a lot of them are going to be trying to do, and with only 70% fuel, they can probably make it about 30, 35 laps on a tank of fuel. We could see a few drivers trying to stretch that fuel, trying to go a little bit longer, but here at Chicagoland, this racetrack just chews up the tires oh so much and makes things so difficult here for these guys to hang on to these rides. So it's going to be interesting to see, what the calls are going to be, who's going to be making moves, who's going to be coming down pit road to take those extra tires as they get ready to rock and roll. They get ready to rumble. It's starting down in the pole position. We're waiting for him to jump into the sim, but there you do see our 3rd place starter, David Traylor Jr. back in 6th. That is Joe Yakes. Keith Prince there in 7th with Jesse Callaway. Philip Toscano there in position number 9, and Evan Schilling going to round out our top 10. Michael Yakes, Gregory Wood Sr., Colton Hardy, and Skylar Berry going to round out the field here. So here we go. We do see our front of the field starting to load into the sim. There is Tristan Kyle. Kyle will start in the pole position here this evening in that beautiful Worldwide Express Chevrolet. To his outside, his teammate in that 43, that is Roberto Ramirez, is David Traylor starting there in 3rd. It's the winning bid number 92 ride of Clinton Woodby. Woodby will start there in 4th, and Matt Hayden, who will round out our top 5 here this evening. As they get rolling, we get ready to set them loose. We get ready to go to battle. Here in this one is the Sheets number 23 ride. Looks like he's going to elect to use the outside lane here on the initial start, so that will move his teammate Ramirez down to the inside in that safe light number 43. So Tristan Kyle going to start here out in front. He does have the command here. He is the race leader, so he will get to see the green flag first. He gets the fire first here as the green flag gets displayed, and he'll be able to try to take a big jump and try to keep all these drivers back there behind him at bay. As this could be a very clean and green race. I know I normally say that, and then it ends up not being that way. We try not to jinx ourselves, but this is a big racetrack. It's a wide racetrack. Really gives these drivers a lot of options for different lanes, different grooves, different entry and exit points here that they can use to try to avoid running into each other and try to carry as much speed as everything else as that they can. And for a lot of these drivers, saving is going to be a big thing here as well. As here we go, ending all the anticipation with our feature presentation, as we are quickly green flag racing here from Chicagoland Speedway. As the 23 and Tristan Kyle will lead us down into corner number 1. Here comes Roberto Ramirez down to the inside, door to door, down and off of corner number 2 as the 23 gets a little bit loose, scrapes that outside fence, but able to keep his foot in the throttle, able to carry a lot of speed down that back straightaway, and he will clear that 43 down into corner number 3 as Tristan Kyle makes his way out of corner number 4. Fastest car in qualifying, fastest car on lap number 1 as the 23 will lead the first lap of the day. So out in front leading that first lap, and for this number 23 ride, he'll look to try to keep his teammate Roberto Ramirez and the rest of these drivers back there at base. Here comes the number 54 of David Trailer. Trailer in that QH Designs. Number 54 ride, he's right on the back bumper there, down into 3 on the 43, but gets a little bit farther back, backs up to the 5 right of Matt Hayden. Hayden trying to get a run down the front straightaways. They'll click off lap number 2 here this evening. See Trailer getting some great runs, gets pretty much to the back bumper of that 43 ride. It just seems like center of the corner 43 maybe a little bit better, but this time looks like for the 43 going to the high side will cause him some issues as he got up into the outside fence. It opens up the door for David Trailer down the back straightaway to jump to his inside and down through 3 and out of 4, looking to clear him. He may slide up in front of him. Do we see a slide jump? No, doesn't quite pull the trigger on it, knowing that he may not have been clear right there. That was probably the best call early on in this race, not to move too much farther forward and drive himself across the nose of that 43 ride. As Anna, how are you? Anna coming in, showing the love, says, what's up, Peacemaker? What's up, Anna? How are you? Mrs. Alessandro coming in, showing the love here in this one. How you doing today, Anna? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful Friday. Hopefully you're ready for the weekend, as you do see David Trailer able to complete that pass on Roberto Ramirez, and now we see the 5 ride also getting up into 3rd as Philip Tuscano in that Mobile 1 number 20 ride. He's on the march towards the front. As the 20 ride jumps up into position number 4, he will continue to look for more here. Already 5 positions here for Tuscano. As Tuscano into position number 4 on the Speedway as Keith Prince right there behind him in that beautiful JMB landscaping number 3 ride. The Johnny Johnson Motorsports ride rolls right there in position number 5. And Roberto Ramirez, who started on the second place here this evening, started in P2, has fallen all the way back now into that 6th position as drivers are already going to start to feel the wear and tear here on these tires. They're going to start to feel a little bit of how hard they're running here early on and how this may affect their rides. As here we go, we see that 54 ride of David Trailer looking to make the early move, looking to try to take that race lead away from the 23. As they are door to door, down and out of corner number 4. A drag race back to the line, and it is the 54 of David Trailer who's able to lead lap number 6 here this evening. So David Trailer in the QH Designs Toyota will take that race lead away from Tristan Kyle. Kyle slides back to 2nd. He's got to be careful because here comes that number 5 ride of Matt Hayden. Hayden's right there, ready to pounce. Well, right, work his way up and into position number 2 here on the evening, and right behind them is that 20 ride Philip Tuscano looking to continue his march towards the front of the field here. He is a man on a mission early on this evening. We'll see if he can jump up there and battle for a top 3 run. As again, the 23 Tristan Kyle up a little bit higher here, rolling that middle side of the racetrack, and that will allow the 54 of David Trailer to slide up in front of him, take that race lead away. We'll have to wait and see how long he can hang on to it. Looked like he wanted to dive down to the inside of that 54, but David Trailer going to take his lane away, and that will keep David Trailer out in front for the time being. Is Tristan Kyle going to look to battle back? Matt Hayden and Tuscano right there ready to duke it out. Keith Prince rolling the outside lane here as the JMB Lawn Care ride trying to take over that 4th position from the 20 machine here early on in this race, as drivers know that this is going to be a short run here towards 20 laps to complete our first stage of the day, our only stage of the day. So for these drivers, know that there's some extra points on the line here. Know that this is already race number 10. We're inching closer and closer to our championship. They're trying to get everything they can, knowing that every single point may be the difference maker between a better standing and potentially a better spot here in the point standings heading into our final 3 races of the season, as that is what's left here for our regular season. Only 3 races after tonight. We head to Texas next Friday, or actually I believe it's 2 Fridays from now. We're off next Friday for Halloween week, as let's see if we're off there, and then Auto Club in Richmond night race. So that's going to be a lot of fun for our final, our playoff cut race there at Richmond Raceway, man. That's going to be a lot of fun before we head into our round of 15. And for these drivers, a lot of them will be in our championship battle. A lot of them will be racing in that round of 15, but we'll be knocking it down after 3 races to 10 drivers and then a championship race at Homestead Miami Speedway for our season finale just before the new year. So for a lot of these drivers, actually just after the new year, that is 128. So just into our new year, we will be crowning a champion here again for the Full Throttle Outlaws. So for a lot of these drivers, there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of points, and there's a lot of bonus points that could be on the line that could really help and drive you into a championship here this season. And for right now, David Traylor Jr. looking pretty strong out in front, able to hold off Tristan Kyle, as Kyle sticking right there with him. Keith Prince has raced his way now up and into that 3rd position as he looks to the outside, now looking right to the back bumper of that 2nd place driver. Matt Hayden's right there with him, not letting him run away with it as Hayden rolls there in 4th. Philip Tuscano back in position number 5 with Roberto Ramirez back there in 6th. Unfortunately for Ramirez, he's on the outside of a points-paying position. Looking in, only our top 5 will earn bonus points here in this stage. So if you're that 43 ride of Roberto Ramirez, you got to start to lay down some really fast lap time. Try to edge yourself back into that battle for that 5th, 4th position and try to steal away a couple stage points here this evening. Joe Yakes right there as well, as Yakes rolls back in 7th. Clinton would be in position number 8 in that beautiful winning Bin 92 ride as he rolls there in that 8th spot. Jesse Calloway in the Pabst Blue Ribbon number 4 sits there in 9th, and rounding out our top 10 in the QH Designs winning bid die casting car brakes number 97. It is Colton Hardy who's back there in position number 10. Back at 11th in that Mobile 1, number 18 ride, that is Evan Schilling. Behind him in the beautiful Sonic Graphic Designs goes Energy, number 46, that is Skylar Berry. Back in 13th, it is that Rogue Energy, number 13 ride of Gregory Wood Sr. in that 13th position. And bringing up the rear of the field in the Miller Genuine Draft number 93 ride, it is Michael Yakes. Yakes back there in that 14th spot, bringing up the rear of the field as we see another pass for the race lead. It's Tristan Kyle able to work his way back around David Traylor. So Traylor falls again back into 2nd here as Tristan Kyle jumps back out in front as Dilly Entertainment says, "Go Clinton Woodby," cheering on Clinton here this evening. We'll have to wait and see if Clinton can work his way up here and try to stay, up inside the top 10. Maybe try to work his way maybe into a solid top 5 run, try to earn some stage points here late in this run as we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Our stage at the end of the next 4 laps here. 4 laps left to go here in stage number 1 as Tristan Kyle trying to keep himself out in front, trying to keep himself in this highest points-paying position here for this stage. Right there behind him, David Traylor Jr. is going to hope to try to work his way back to the point here in this one as Matt Hayden, Keith Prince, and that 20 ride of Philip Tuscano going to duke it out here again. So Keith Prince sliding backwards now. We saw him work his way up and into position number 3, but now for the 3 ride, he's back into that 5th position as the 20 cuts down to his inside. But they stay door to door. Big run right there off corner number 4. Looked like the 20 ride got a little tight tight on corner exit, had to check up, and unfortunately, that killed a ton of momentum on the straightaway for this 20 ride. And Philip may end up losing another spot here to his teammate, as there goes Roberto Ramirez around the outside of him here, and that will put Ramirez back into position number 5, back into a stage point here for that 43 as Joe Yakes and Clinton Woodby right there ready to pounce. Is out in front though, it's Tristan Kyle and David Traylor who continue to duke it out here for the race lead in stage number 1. Matt Hayden right there with him as Hayden rolls in third. He's ready to pounce, he's ready to poke his nose into this battle out in front, wanting to work that beautiful Razor Kraken at number 5 ride into this battle for the stage win, but he is running out of time, and a quick hurry is down into corner number 3, nice and easy out of corner number 4, back down across the line. It'll be 1 lap left to go here in our one and only stage of the evening. Is down across the line. There we go. Only 1 lap left to go for these drivers who will win the stage here this evening. Tristan Kyle out in front, looking for a big run down the back straightaway as he's able to quickly get back onto the throttle, able to pull a little bit farther away from David Traylor, as Traylor back in line, gonna have one more shot at it. Unfortunately, a couple car lengths back. I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to find the run that he is looking for. As down and out of 4th, the 23 of Tristan Kyle will pick up the stage win here this evening. Tristan Kyle with the stage win. David Traylor Jr. back in 2nd. Matt Hayden there in 3rd. Keith Prince will round out our top 4, and it's Philip Tuscano who will round out our top 5, all earning stage points here this evening. Roberto Ramirez, unfortunately, first car on the outside, looking in for those stage points with Joe Yakes, Clinton Woodby, Colton Hardy, and Jesse Calloway rounding out our top 5. Skylar Berry, Evan Schilling, Gregory Wood Sr., and Michael Yakes bringing up the rear of the field as they wait for the official iRacing pace car to catch up to them here and get these guys all lined back up to where they're supposed to be, as everyone will get ready to potentially come down pit side here. Potentially could see some pit stops, and for a lot of these drivers that could be the big question mark here on this race. When you come down pit road, when you put tires on, what is your best option here? I feel we're going to see everybody come down pit road, get fuel, get tires, and everything else that they desire. Any changes to their race car to try to help them out here this evening. As here we go, we do see virtually everybody come down pit road, as there is the 93 of Michael Yakes. He's also going to head down pit side. So for Tristan Kyle, Matt Hayden, David Traylor Jr., Keith Prince, Philip Tuscano, and the rest of our top 10 and top 14 all going to come down pit road here. And it does look like they're going to get in here. It looks at 54. We're going to get a set of tires. Same with the 23 ride. We look back at Matt Hayden. Not sure if Hayden. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so 4 tires here going on all of these drivers' cars. No one's going to go for a little bit of a different game plan, and it looks like it's going to be a tight race off of pit lane. We'll have to wait and see where they score them with that first pit stall. Being that pole award for the 23 ride, gets that first pit stall, and luckily enough, looks like he is able to edge just out in front of David Traylor and the rest of these guys to keep the race lead here this evening. Our top 4 do not change. Joe Yakes does gain a spot here as Yakes jumps up into position number 5. Tuscano slides back into 6 here with Ramirez, Clinton Woodby there in 8th, Colton Hardy in 9th, and Jesse Calloway rounding out our top 10. Barry Schilling, Gregory Wood Sr., and Michael Yakes going to round out the field as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing as our one and only stage coming to a close. And now this is where we can get into the big question mark here for a lot of these drivers. You got 70% worth of fuel into your race cars. That's what you kind of start with here. It's 70%. Now, the big question is do you try to stretch this fuel and maybe give up some time on the older tires, or do you kind of split it up into maybe a couple more pit stops compared to only one more pit stop here in this feature event? If you can run virtually 30-35 laps and get somewhere towards, lap number, I'm going to say lap number 60, 65, somewhere in there. If you can get into that area, it opens up the door potentially to be able to make it on a one-stop race. You got to kind of almost go to lap number 40, honestly. So for a lot of these drivers, I think that's going to be sitting in the back of their mind. I think a lot of them are trying to crunch the numbers right now as they're sitting back behind that official iRacing safety vehicle, the pace car here this evening. They're crunching the numbers. They're trying to figure out what they need, how they need to do it, and if they are going to have to try to save fuel, how much time will you give up compared to just making that additional pit stop here? If you're going to give up a ton of track time, you may better take that extra pit stop, get the fresh tires, and use them to your advantage to try and stay pace with everybody else, or even maybe get a little bit of an advantage later on. So we'll have to wait and see what the call is for all these drivers. Is down through the Geico restart zone. We see our first restart of the evening. Tristan Kyle quickly onto the loud pedal. David Traylor there in second. We'll follow him down into corner number 1. As for a lot of these drivers, now it's time to start to strategize. Now is time that you have to make a decision on what you're doing. Will you try to stretch the fuel and make it on one pit stop race here? You know, you run the rest of this race only coming back down pit side one time, or do you have to come down 2 times anyways? If you do have to make those 2 pit stops, when you come down pit road, we see the tire fall off has already been quite a bit here. Honestly, in that first stage, it was well over a second a lap that these drivers were giving up. So for a second a lap, that is a lot of time to be given up. And if you're running into that 20 lap, you know, you're running into that the 30, 40 lap area, how much worse your tires are going to be, how much more of a handful your race car is going to be out there on the speedway. And if you are starting to struggle more and more and more, you know, how far back do you fall before it's too far back that it's not going to make a difference on whether or not you make that additional pit stop here this evening? And I think for a lot of these drivers, the cars are really tell here, as we do see a few drivers kind of holding off a little bit, a few other drivers a little bit harder on the throttle. As you take a look back at Michael Yanks and Evan Schilling, they've been way off the pace here at the back of the pack, back in that 13th and 14th position. Last time around, they were about 0.7 of a second slower than our race leaders for that 18 ride of Evan Schilling. Now that could be the strategy of trying to run it long here, but already out there on the racetrack, he's given up 4 seconds to our race leader. So do you give up all that time in hopes to make it to the end, in hopes to be able to make it to that fuel number, or you go a little bit harder here and try to get everything you can here on this restart? As you do see Colton Hardy last time around, Hardy fastest car out there on the racetrack, laid down the quickest lap of this feature event with a 30.67, absolutely blazing fast lap time for Colton Hardy. Back down across the line again, and he's gonna beat that lap time and go even quicker. So for Colton Hardy, it looks like he's found something in this outside lane. He is really starting to roll the centers nicely, and for the QH Designs 97 ride, he's already worked his way up and into position number 3 on the speedway after getting around both Matt Hayden and Mr. David Traylor Jr. out there on the racetrack. Joe Prince right there in front of him with Tristan Kyle rolling there in the top spot, though. Kyle continues to have that race leading down across the line. Man, another good lap time right there. So for the 97 rider, Colton Hardy, he is definitely on it. He is definitely not holding back. He's not saving. He is go, go, go mode as of right now, and he is already there to the back bumper of our race leaders. He's looking to try to make it even 3 wide right here as Tristan Kyle pushes up the racetrack. 97 will cut back down to his inside, get a good run and a good exit right there for the 97. He'll now go after this number 3 machine of Keith Prince. So I think for Colton Hardy, his game plan is to use these tires up. Use them, abuse them, work yourself to the point, get that clean air, and try to pull away from the rest of the field. If you can open up a big enough gap, then no matter what the decision is, if they stay out or if you make additional pit stops, then it should still give you maybe that extra little bit of time that you may need to hunt somebody down late in this race and put yourself up and into victory lane. So I like this call here for Colton Hardy. He is not holding back, but the big thing is already in these first 7 laps, 6 laps since we went back to green flag racing, how much stress, how much wear and tear has he put onto these tires compared to some of these other drivers? When you look at Tristan Kyle, you look at Matt Hayden, or even the 54 David Traylor Jr., after a few laps of getting back into the action, they've been quite a bit farther off the pace here. They've been rolling it back. They've been sitting back here. They've been falling back as now David Traylor falls to the 8th position. But is that all by design? Knowing that this could potentially be be a very long green flag run, and then you kind of want to have those better tires for later in the run. If drivers are still going to that 30-lap marker, maybe even towards 35, 40 to try to make it on one more stop in this race, to have tires, the longevity of them stick with you throughout that entire run is going to be better than using them all up potentially here in the first handful of laps. So for Colton Hardy, even though he's out in front, he's got the race lead. He's starting to open up a little bit of a gap between himself and Tristan Kyle. How much is he giving up for it, though? How much is that going to affect his ride later in this run? Will he start to fall backwards? The answer is more than likely yes. We'll start to see the 97 ride either lose the gap that he's going to build up, or he's going to see the drivers that he has made passes on start to pass him back. But if he can time that right, if he can time that fall off perfectly here, come down pit road, throw an extra set of tires on, get back out there, make that early pit stop, it can kind of compound to where it keeps building a big lead for him, and by that final pit stop for the 97 ride and everyone else coming down pit road, it could open up a big gap for him to try to run away and win this feature event. So for Colton Hardy, he's a man with a plan, and I think now a few other drivers are starting to realize what that 97 ride is doing and what his game plan is going to be. They may like that better than what they were thinking, so there's a lot of them that are now starting to really get onto the throttle, including Tristan Kyle, including Matt Hayden and Skylar Berry, who rolls now into that 4th position. Philip Tuscano back there in position number 5 here in Callaway, right there with him. Keith Prince had fallen back into 7th, but he's got to pick up that pace. He's rolling there in 7th as there was a big gap starting to build. Now between 7th and our 8th place driver is David Traylor Jr., who at one point in time was leading laps here. He was at the front of the field. He was battling with Tristan Kyle for the race lead. Now sits a couple seconds back in that 8th position, and I think for David Traylor Jr., it's more about trying to save some tires for longer in this run and potentially trying to save that little bit of fuel as well. If you're going to try to stretch out this fuel run, try to give yourself an opportunity that you only have to make one more pit stop here in this race, it could really work into the benefit of that number 54, maybe even the 92 of Clinton Woodby, Joe Yates, some of these drivers that are really off the pace here since the start of this final stage of this run. The 43, Roberto Ramirez, he's right there in that same boat. Same with Michael Yates and Evan Schilling. Schilling's been doing it a lot more aggressively than everybody else. Schilling has been running a ton slower than the rest of the field here. Right from the drop of our green flag, going back to green flag battling, he has really been off the pace. Really been trying to get something going here. Really trying to get something figured out game plan wise and strategy wise for this number 18 ride. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out for him, as right now he sits 9 seconds back of our race leader. So you do see Tristan Kyle able to work his way back around Colton Hardy. So Hardy slides back into position number 2 here. Hardy may already be starting to feel the effects of running that hard early on in the run as he starts to slide farther and farther back, and now gonna have to try to deal with this 23, try to deal with that 5 ride of Matt Hayden, as all these drivers, man, doing a fantastic job as Remodesty coming in, showing the love, says, "Get it, Misfits!" Cheering on the Misfits team. He's cheering on Mr. Skylar Berry and Matt Hayden here this evening as the Misfits Racing Group out there on the Speedway. Misfits right now running pretty decently with Hayden rolling there in 3rd. We have seen, unfortunately, for the 46 of Skylar Berry has fallen back again into that 5th position after Philip Tuscano was able to get around him, but still, heck of a drive here for Skylar Berry right now, currently up 9 positions from where he started. And for Colton Hardy, right in the same boat for the 97 as he's up 11 positions, but now both drivers starting to lose some spots here. We saw Colton get to the race lead, now falls back into 3rd as Tristan Kyle and Matt Hayden are able to get around him as we start to roll towards that 20-lap run. We saw 20 laps in that first stage. That's all it was. It was 20 laps. We haven't seen these drivers go beyond that here in this race. So once we start getting into 23, 28, maybe even 35 laps into this run. What are these tires going to look like? How are these drivers going to be able to hang on to their cars? And what will that fuel situation allow them to do? And will allow them to kind of run a different strategy out there on the speedway. As of right now, there's 60 laps left to go in this race. There's still a lot of time to try to figure stuff out, but if we don't see a caution flag, if we stay clean and green, you gotta get everything you can with those fresh tires, and you gotta make sure that you can have a car later in the run as well. So you just gotta be perfect here, basically right from the beginning of the set right down to the end of the set. And I think for right now, drivers like Colton Hardy and Skylar Berry are starting to struggle here. They move forward, they gained a ton of positions, but a lot of these other drivers kind of hung back. They didn't use those tires up as quickly. They haven't burned them off as much as what this number 97 ride has. And I think for Colton Hardy, he's starting to feel that pain as here he goes back into that fourth position as Tuscano able to get around him. Skylar Berry there in fifth, looking to hunt him down, but he's got that Pabst Blue Ribbon ride right there on his back bumper. In David Traylor, who we saw being very aggressive with the tire savings right from the drop of the green flag, going back to our restart for the 54 ride. Went from battling for the race lead, he was restarted in that second position. He is now back into seventh, and he's been kind of hanging out right there, but now starting to reel these guys in as Callaway starts to struggle, as Skylar Berry and Colton Hardy start to run into their problems. The other drivers up towards the front of the field may be running a little bit harder still than that 54 ride. They may start to back up to him. They may start falling farther and farther back into his grasp where he can take advantage of these tires later in the run. And for a lot of these cats, this is going to open up a big window and a big door here on what they want to do here for pit stops, as right now it is a 20-lap run. We went back to green flag racing after 23 laps, 23 completed laps of this feature event. So virtually it was 24 laps into this race, I guess 23 laps into this race, and now we are at 43 laps into this race, about to be 44 laps. So really this is as far as we've went here. This is a 20-lap run now, 21 laps down across the line for all these drivers. So this is the longest green flag run that we have seen. So for a lot of these cats, we're getting into that no man's land on whether or not you made the right decision, your game plan's working out in your favor, or things are going the opposite direction, and without a caution flag here, potentially could be in a lot of trouble out there on the racetrack. As we did see Skylar Berry get around that number 97 to Colton Hardy. We'll see David Traylor get around him. Now here comes that Pabst Blue Ribbon number 4 ride as Jesse Callaway also gets by that 97 ride of Colton Hardy. Hardy may lose another spot as here comes Roberto Ramirez trying to roll that outside lane, try to pick up another spot here on the speedway as well. And this is exactly what we talked about. We saw Colton being super aggressive, racing his way up to the front of the field on that restart. Restarted back in about the 8th position, 8th, 9th spot on the speedway, had gained all these spots, had raced his way up to the race lead, led a few laps, but now starting to feel that pain of being over aggressive with those French tires and burning them up too quickly. And unfortunately for Colton Hardy, he is now back into position number 8 on the speedway, virtually where he was when we went back to green flag racing. So for the 97 ride, it's kind of balanced out. He's kind of a net zero right now, and unfortunately for him, it could go to a net negative in a quick hurry. As this race continues on, we continue to put more laps onto these tires, the worse and worse they're going to get. And unfortunately for the 97 ride, he may have some of the worst tires out there on the racetrack compared to the cars that are a little deeper in the field. We look back at Joe Yanks, you look back at Clinton Woodby, Keith Prince. A lot of these guys have been a lot more aggressive on tire savings here in this run. They can start to chip away at him here and slide Colton Hardy deep into this field. Let's take a look back at Evan Schilling. Schilling still on this kind of strategy here of running just a lot off the pace here, just kind of really letting this one come to him. A lot of these other drivers are now starting to run slower lap times than the 18 ride. He's been hanging with our race leaders the last little while. He's only about 10, almost 11 seconds down and behind Tristan Kyle, but they have been running a whole lot faster. They were running instantly into that 31-second bracket, you know, down into the 30-second bracket for some of these guys. And for this number 18 ride, he's just been back here running in the 32-second, 31, 33s for most of this run, and he could have some really good tires for late in the stage, but it could also play out into his hand here for pit strategies. That's the next big thing. Fuel strategy is a big game plan. The tires are going to mean a lot. The tires are really going to dictate who's going to be able to stay fast and have a fast race car here throughout this race. But it will come down a lot to the fuel. The fuel mileage could be the big game plan out there on the speedway. And for Tristan Kyle right now, down and out of corner number 4, back down across the start finish line. For Tristan Kyle, that is 50 laps completed in 50 laps left to go here in this feature event. So we're halfway through here this evening, and it's still anybody's race here this evening. Still any one of these drivers could find their way up and into victory lane here this evening, but it's all about who can get it done, who can race their way up there, who's gonna have the best strategy to pull this one off. Is right now the 23 ride keeps himself out in front, continue to lead laps here. He's led the most laps here today. He qualified on the pole. He looked very, very strong in this feature event, as now we do see our first driver making green flag pit stops. Here on lap number 51, we see Roberto Ramirez heading down pit side. So Ramirez comes down pit road as the safe light number 43 ride. First car to come down pit side. Now, does that bring on onslaught of more drivers down pit road? Do we see them staying out here a little bit longer? I feel we're going to see a lot of drivers trying to stretch maybe this fuel out right now for that number 43 rider, Roberto Ramirez. That is just under, what is that, 28 laps? That set of tires, 28 laps, that set of tires, 28 laps for a tank of fuel there for the 43 ride of Roberto Ramirez. For all these other drivers, they're trying to stretch it out even farther. They want to see at least probably 35, maybe even closer to that 40-lap run, where they can get very, very close to finishing this race off without having to make a secondary pit stop. Unfortunately, for that 43, Roberto Ramirez, Roberto is going to have to make at least one more pit stop here in this feature event. I think for a lot of these drivers, that's the game plan that they want to get to. They don't want to have to make that additional pit stop, but we'll have to see if the strategy can play off for Roberto Ramirez. If he can use those fresh tires to just continuously keep leapfrogging everybody, use the better tires to his advantage, track them down, make passes, and put himself maybe into the catbird seat late in this race, tracking down our top 5, tracking down our race leader, and trying to steal this win away from him in the closing laps. As right now we do see another driver starting to head down pit road. Here comes the 4 rider, Jesse Calloway. Calloway shoots down pit side. Here comes Colton Hardy as well. Hardy was one of the first drivers I thought would have been down pit road in that 97 ride. For how aggressive he was with those tires early in the run, I thought he was going to be one of the first cars to hit pit road here, but it is that 43, Roberto Ramirez. And now, making these green flag pit stops, you just got to be careful, man. You cannot have a pit road speed penalty. You cannot earn that penalty. You cannot get a black flag here and throw a good finish out the window by a simple mistake. Just getting too fast or anything down pit road to jeopardize your performance here this evening. We normally see at least one driver make that mistake throughout a race, and for a lot of these guys, if they have to make multiple pit stops, especially later in the race, those pit stops, you may want to get a little quicker. You may want to try to gain that extra edge or be a little bit faster than your other drivers on the racetrack to gain a spot or two out there on the speedway. So we'll have to wait and see what the strategy call is. It's down across the line. That'll complete lap number 56 here. Lap number 56 off the board for Tristan Kyle as Matt Hayden rolls back there in second. Philip Tuscano there in third as he's reeling in that 5 ride. David Traylor sits in position number 4 with Skylar Berry back in 5th. Joe Yates in position number 6 with Clinton Woodby, Keith Prince, Gregory Wood Sr., Evan Schilling rounding out our top 10. Back in the 11th is Michael Yates in that Miller Genuine Draft number 93 ride. Then we see Roberto Ramirez, who has the fresher tires here. He is in that lucky duck position, so he was able to really gain quite a bit of time here between himself and Jesse Calloway and Colton Hardy for that 12th spot. And as of right now, he sits in that free pass position. A caution flag could put him back on a lead lap. Now, I think that yellow flag would hurt him more than it would help him, as that would balance out everyone else's tires, and it would make him have probably the worst tires out there on the racetrack with some of the worst track position, and that is not a good spot to be. Is out in front, it is still the 23 of Tristan Kyle, as Tristan continues to lead the way here at Chicagoland Speedway, trying to pick up a big win here this evening in that WWEX number 23 ride, as the Global Trans Machine looks to be headed down pit side. Here he comes, is down pit road. Here comes the Wex ride as the Wex Group Machine hits pit road. Our pole sitter, our race leader, comes down pit lane, completing lap number 59. Philip Tuscano, his teammate, going to come down pit side, as well as Matt Hayden, Gregory Woods Sr., and Michael Yakes, all going to come down pit road. Now, they've been giving up a ton of time to those fresh tires. Those fresh tires will more than likely leapfrog all these guys, but they will have virtually, 9 laps, 8 laps better tires than most of them, so they're going to have a huge advantage when they get back into the racetrack to reel those guys in and catch up to them. And Skylar Berry now going to come down pit road himself. It is David Traylor Jr. who has the race lead. David out in front with Joey Yakes, Clinton Woodby, Keith Prince, Evan Schilling, all going to stay up for a little bit longer here in this one for what should be a fun and exciting race to see who can try to put themselves up and in the winner's circle here this evening, as green flag pit stops are underway. Who will be the next one to come down pit side, as we do see Roberto Ramirez. Roberto, great pit stop here, and obviously coming down pit side quite a bit earlier than everybody else. He now sits here and has about 7.3 seconds between himself and Tristan Kyle. Kyle rolling there in position number 7, as Jesse Calloway now behind him here. And then we see Matt Hayden, Colton Hardy, Skylar Berry, Philip Tuscano. Unfortunately for Philip, has slid back into about the 11th position as of right now. Should gain quite a bit more, as we do see David Traylor now down pit road. But I think here's the big question for a lot of these drivers. They went back green flag racing around lap number, was it around lap 23? We had just completed 23 laps of this feature event. Next time by for Joe Yakes, he'll complete lap number 63, which will be a 40-lap run during the green flag conditions. And for Joe Yakes, that gives him 3 laps to the good. He only has to run 37 laps here past this point. Same with Clinton Woodby and Evan Schilling. So for a bunch of these drivers, that one pit stop strategy to finish off the second half of the race may be a big possibility, as we do see Keith Prince still down pit road, trying to get this thing filled up with fuel. Unfortunately, has not been released. There he goes, finally able to get back onto loud pedals. Here comes Joe Yakes. Here comes Clinton Woodby and Evan Schilling. So their calculators were working overtime, and I think this could be a big break for them, as that is going to give them a few laps better tires than everybody else, but it also gives them a few laps more on fuel than all the drivers back behind them. That will give them an opportunity to run, only 37 laps. When we look back at some of these other drivers that came down pit road early, like Roberto Ramirez, like Jesse Calloway, Colton Hardy, they're more than likely going to have to make another pit stop here in this race. For drivers like Tristan Kyle, some of these guys like Matt Hayden and Philip Tuscano, they came down pit road on lap number 59. That means they got to run 41 laps here to get to that checkered flag. That means that they got to stretch it farther than most of these other drivers have went here this evening. We just saw 3 drivers that were on a huge strategy trying to get as far as possible, save as much fuel as possible there, and they only made it to about lap 40. So it's going to be very, very interesting if they can go, to lap 41 or lap 42, 43, and especially if we see NASCAR overtime here this evening. Could not get a lot of drivers on track position late in this race. So I think even though if we do see a caution flag, let's say in the next 30 laps or so, we're definitely going to see pretty much everybody come down pit side. Even if it's 20 laps into this run, I think we're going to see everyone come back down pit road. Fuel will be balanced out, tires will be balanced out, but then drivers will be able to go after it and go at it as hard as possible for the race win here this evening. As of right now, Roberto Ramirez making that short pit for the 43 ride. It seems to be working out on the short term for the last little bit. He's been out in front, but as he saw the 23 of Tristan Kyle come back in on the racetrack, he had about a 7.3 second gap between himself and that 23 ride. But pitting 8 laps earlier than these guys, that moves Tristan Kyle to only just under 2 seconds back behind him. And for Tristan Kyle, he is reeling him in a quick curve. We see Matt Hayden has been able to get around Jesse Calloway, so Calloway slides back into position number 4, and we already see Colton Hardy back there in 7th. So I think for a lot of these drivers, that early pit stop may not work out for them, especially if we continue to stay clean and green out there on the speedway. If you're Roberto Ramirez, what you really want is potentially, run another 3-5 laps somewhere in there, hope to get a caution flag, enough that we're far enough forward that everybody's going to come down pit road. No one's going to stay out there. They're going to want to throw an extra set of tires on, but now he has that track position that could put him into a good spot. That may put him in a good spot here late in this race, but you can already see the tire difference. 8 laps, and how much of a difference that makes, as that's our new race leader, our old race leader before that wave of green flag pit stops. Tristan Kyle back out in front, so Tristan Kyle down the front straightaway takes back over the race lead, and you can already see that gap growing between himself and Roberto Ramirez. It is about 0.7 of a second now, almost a full second here slower than our race leader. Last time around, it was about 1.1 seconds slower than Tristan Kyle. So for Roberto Ramirez, making that early pit stop, he's feeling the pain of it and may even start to realize that his gas gauge is quite a bit off here. If he's going to try to make it to the end of this race, he's going to have to save a whole bunch of fuel, but he may already know that his bet is made in that he's just got to bank and hope to see a caution flag come out here that would bring everybody down pit side, and that would put everybody onto the same strategy late in this race and hope that he gains a ton of track position in the process. Matt Hayden there in 3rd. Unfortunately, has fallen back about 2.5 seconds behind Tristan Kyle, but he is reeling in Roberto Ramirez for 2nd here in a quick hurry. Philip Tuscano, he's rolling back in 4th. He should move forward here as he's hunting down Hayden and Ramirez and everyone else here, trying to catch up to his teammate and our race leader, Tristan Kyle, out in front. David Traylor Jr., we saw the strategy that he was rolling there early on in that second part of the run, and unfortunately he's back here in that 5th position as we do see Keith Prince. Keith Prince comes back down pit road here, so lap number 70. Keith Prince heads down pit side. This is a bold call right here for a driver that had already lost the lap. It would seem like he had a lot slower of a lap time right there. I didn't see a black flag. He didn't get too much of a hold, but unfortunately it was a slow pit stop for that number 3 ride, and now he's trying to make up a little something extra here, knowing that he's going to need that extra something to try to give himself an opportunity here in this race as he heads down pit side for Gregory Woods Sr. He will now become the first car a lap down out there on the racetrack. Michael Yates, the last car on the lead lap right now, as there's 12 cars still on the lead lap. 2 cars, unfortunately, off the lead lap. As Tristan Kyle, though, continues to lead the way as nice and easy down the back straightaway as he heads down into corner number 3 and out of corner number 4. He'll complete lap number 73, meaning that we only got about 27 laps left to go here in this A-main feature event. So it's getting down to the nitty-gritty in a quick hurry as we're going to jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers. as more green flag pit stops have kind of come under fire here in this one. A lot of different drivers already making their way back down pit side for a second green flag pit stop here this evening, including what was our race leader, the 23 of Tristan Kyle. As we are within 20 laps left to go, does Tristan Kyle have enough left in the tank that he can hunt down all these drivers, as a lot of these cats are going to be looking to try to get to the end of this race without having to make an additional pit stop here this evening, including David Traylor, who just got passed by that 23, but you can see the gap that he's already building, how much quicker than new tires are compared to the old tires. And for Tristan Kyle, he's virtually got to run all the way around the racetrack here. He's unlapped himself to the 54 ride, but he's got to try to catch up and pass the 5 ride of Matt Hayden, who is now our race leader. Hayden was rolling in second. He now has the race lead, and for Tristan Kyle, he's reeling into him here. He's looking to make the move around him, and he's going to get the spot, so he's going to get himself back on the lead lap here for that 23 ride. Roberto Ramirez is in the same boat in that number 43 right now. For Roberto Ramirez, came down pit road about 6 laps sooner than Tristan Kyle, so Kyle does have much better tires than he does. But for these two, it's going to come down to, do you have enough time left? We saw Colton Hardy also come down pit road already, making his second green flag pit stop. Same with Jesse Calloway. Keith Prince as well also had come down pit road once again here in this race. So virtually it's our top 8 drivers that are still rolling out here that have yet to come down pit road. They were, nice enough to let those guys go by. They knew they had better tires. They knew that they had faster race cars with those fresh tires. They let them go by. They didn't put up a fight. But with only 14 laps left to go for those cars that have raced their way back on the lead lap after coming down pit road and making an additional green flag pit stop, will that be the breaking point? As you see, the 43 Roberto Ramirez still is not that far in front of our race leader Matt Hayden. Tristan Kyle right there in position number 10. He's caught up to the 43 ride. He's still running quite a bit faster, a second and a bit, almost a second and a half faster than our race leader Matt Hayden. But for this 23 rider Tristan Kyle, he's burning up his tires. He's using his stuff up here, and as he gets closer and closer to being able to start making more passes, trying to work his way back inside the top 5, how much is he using up on those tires? He may catch up to Matt Hayden late in this race. He may have a little bit better tires, but will it be enough to be able to complete passes and work his way back to the front of the field to win this race? I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time to do that. It's down across the line. It's only 12 laps left to go, and Tristan Kyle is not that far in front of Matt Hayden right now. The tires are starting to balance out a little bit, and for Tristan Kyle, his game plan, it may be going the wrong direction here, and he may not have to worry about Matt Hayden. It may be David Traylor back there behind Matt Hayden that he may have to worry about. Now for David Traylor Jr., came down pit road 2 laps after Matt Hayden did, gave himself a couple lap better tires, gave himself an extra couple laps of fuel. And you look even farther back at Joe Yakes, who was down pit road on lap number 63. It's the same case scenario, has a couple laps better tires than David Traylor Jr. and that extra little bit of fuel. Same with Clinton Woodby and Evan Schilling. Will that work out in their favor late in this race? Will that put them into a position that they can hold off some of these guys, gain that track position up, and be able to win this race? As Matt Hayden, nice and easy, down through corner number 3 and out of corner number 4, back down across the line. He will see 10 laps left to go here in this feature event. So 10 laps left to duke it out here in this one. And for our race leader, Matt Hayden, he's going to be feeling pretty good right now. He knows he's got a sizable lead. Let's see if we can get a look here at the track map. So let's go at the car number here. So car number 5 is our race leader on that track map. That will give you a great look. That will give you a great perspective of where Matt Hayden is out there on the racetrack. He's highlighted in the green circle there. The green circle with the red and white number 5 on the inside of it. You take a look farther forward, the full red number 23 ride. That is Tristan Kyle. Tristan Kyle is more than half a track back than Matt Hayden. But for Matt Hayden, he's got his hands full here. Look at the 13 ride down to his inside. But here's the 54 of David Traylor Jr. right there into the battle. This could be the battle for the race win right here, ladies and gentlemen, as David Traylor Jr. has reeled in Matt Hayden He is there. He is ready to take this top spot away from the number 5 ride and down to the inside for the 54. Looks like David Trailer Jr. down across the line will lead lap number 92. So 8 laps left to go here. It is David Trailer Jr. who now sits out in front. Matt Hayden there in second. A little farther back, you do see Philip Tuscano. Tuscano rolls in position number 3. Joe Yakes back there in 4th. Clinton Woodby sits in position number 5. Skylar Perry back behind him in 6th with Evan Schilling back in 7th. Tristan Kyle still farther back though. The 23 ride sits in that 8th position. Roberto Ramirez back in position number 9 with Michael Yakes there in 10th. But out in front, it's all David Trailer Jr. as he's now starting to pull away from Matt Hayden. Hayden looked like he had this one in the bag, but I think for the 5 ride, fuel may become an issue here for him. Fuel may get very, very tight for that 5 machine, and for David Trailer Jr., he may have been just saving some for later in this run. He may have just been kind of holding back, trying to ease into these tires, not wanting to burn them up too quick, but now inside 10 laps left to go. This thing is a rocket ship, and now we do see Philip Tuscano down pit side. Philip making a late race pit stop. This is a heartbreaker for the 20 ride. So it looks like drivers that had come down pit road around lap number 59 may have calculated a little bit too short here. They may not be able to make it to the end of this race, and for Philip, he knows that now he has to come down pit side. He has to make this pit stop and try to gain as much as he can, coming back out onto the speedway for the final 5 laps of this race. And it's going to put him into a very, very difficult spot here late in this one. As David Trailer Jr., though, down across the line, we'll see 5 laps left to go. 5 laps left here in this one. The gap between himself and Tristan Kyle is about 21 seconds. So I think for Tristan Kyle, Roberto Ramirez, the drivers that made that secondary pit stop, if the 54 ride and the rest of our top 5 can make it to the start-finish line, if they can complete this race without having to make another pit stop here this evening, fuel-wise, I think it's going to work out for them. For the drivers that came down pit road second time here during this final run, I don't think it's going to work out very well in their favor. Tristan Kyle gave up the race lead, now sits back in 7th as David Trailer sees 4 laps left to go. He's out in front and continue to hold these guys back there at bay and pulling farther and farther away from Matt Hayden. Hayden now feeling a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more confident here, maybe able to save enough fuel to get to the end, as right now he's got about 2 seconds between himself and the 87 of Joe Yakes, as we do see Michael Yakes. Michael Yakes also heading down pit road. This was another driver, and now here we go. Matt Hayden also down pit side, so Hayden has to make another green flag pit stop late in this one. So lap 97, we see Matt Hayden and Michael Yakes both come down pit road. That leaves David Trailer Jr., who pitted 2 laps after the number 5 rider, Matt Hayden. Does he have enough fuel? Can he make it to the end? He's got 4 seconds between himself and Joe Yakes. If he runs out, Yakes has 2 laps more fuel than that number 54 David Trailer Jr. This could go to Joe Yakes. If Trailer runs out of fuel, he'll be right there to pick up where he left off. For Clinton Woodby, he's too far back that he will not be there with the 87 ride, as David Trailer Jr. is giving it everything he's got. He's only got a lap and a half left to go to try and find victory lane here at Chicagoland Speedway, as the QH Designs 54 rounds corner number 3 and out of corner number 4. It does not look like he will head down pit side. He will run it dry, as the 54 will see the white flag fly here this evening. So for David Trailer Jr., he's got 1 more lap left here to go. 1 lap left to try to put himself up and into victory lane. He's just got to worry about that fuel. Still about 4.4 seconds between himself and Joe Yanks, and about 7 seconds back you see Clinton Woodby there in 3rd. But for David Trailer Jr., looks like the calculator was working fine here this evening, as the 54 will round corner number 4 and he will find victory lane here this evening in race number 10, as the winning bid 150 winner, David Trailer Jr., gets it done done here at Chicagoland Speedway, picking up the checkered flag here in this one. So David Trailer Jr. gets the job done, wins this race. He'll now get some help down the back straightaway. The 54 ride may be out of fuel and may need a push down to the front stretch as Joe Yanks comes home in second. Clinton Woodby will come home in third. Evan Schilling back there in fourth, and Tristan Kyle, who had the race lead, made that pit stop back on lap number 80. Unfortunately, only gets himself back up inside the top 5, comes home in that 5th position. Roberto Ramirez back in 6th with Skylar Berry, Matt Hayden, Philip Tuscano, and Colton Hardy rounding out our top 10 here in this one. Jesse Calloway, Keith Prince, Michael Yakes, and Gregory Wood Sr. will round out our field here as David Trailer Jr. gets the job done and wins the winning bid 150 here this evening as the QH Designs ride gets to celebrate, and I do believe he is now out of fuel. So it looks like he is out of fuel. The car has come to a stop here in the front stretch here and down in the infield, so looks like his celebration will come to a quick close, but we'll get ready to pull David, Joe Yakes, and Clinton Woodby up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews, man. What a couple great runs right there, man. These guys put on an absolute show for us here this evening, and if you guys enjoyed that racing action, if you guys enjoyed that great battle here this evening with the Full Throttle Outlaws Racing League, man, make sure, guys, hit that subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker family here today. Hit the thumbs up on the stream as well, hit the like button, drop a couple comments, let us know what you thought there of the show this evening. Let us know what you guys thought of the feature event, because, man, that was a ton of fun as we get ready to pull in our race winner, David Trailer Jr. Hey, David, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Hey, Aaron, I got you.
David, man, what a run, what a race, man. Take us back through this one, because this one seemed like it came down to a whole lot of calculations midway through this one. Everyone trying to stretch that fuel out, trying to get as far as they can to where you knew you were a little bit more comfortable running to the end with only that one pit stop, that one green flag pit stop here in the last 80 laps of this feature event after our first stage.
Yeah, after the stage, I knew it was going to be pretty tight. I personally like these fuel mileage races. I feel like I'm good at maximizing everything out of the car. And yeah, started saving on lap 21. So just rode around, took my time. It's hard to do when you watch, the 23 and the 5 drive away from you, and you're just hoping that they're not saving, knowing that you're just falling back, losing time, and even after the pit stop, they're still kind of far ahead, and I'm like, man, I've only got a couple laps on them. This may be it. I might get like a 5th or a 6th out of this, and just over the course of the last 40 laps, slowly reel them in, only to find out that they're not good on fuel. And yeah, it's validating. It's a little nerve-wracking when you spend 80% of the race not leading and then finally come around at the end. But yeah, just a nice strategy race. They come around every so often, and it's good to be on the winning side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Played out perfectly into your hands there, as we saw Tristan Kyle obviously going down pit road there on lap 80, gives up the race lead. So obviously he was short on fuel, and it seemed like all those guys that pitted there on lap 59 were short, as we saw Matt Hayden late after he made the pass around him to take the race lead. He comes down pit row. We saw Philip Tuscano comes down pit side, and so many of those other drivers that pitted back on lap 59. I thought it was going to be very close. I thought maybe they would save enough that they could make it that 41 laps, as you had to make it 39 here to finish off that final run, and you were able to get the job done. I don't know if you were saving enough there during that run that you were feeling comfortable, or just there at the end you were able to get enough, or if your number was just right that you could make it right here to lap 100 and pick up this checkered flag, man. How was that fuel looking, and how did it feel seeing all these guys that you're battling with and we're hoping that had to make that pit stop finally make their way down pit road?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's really validating. It's just not riding around at full speed or even race pace. It feels like, yeah, like I said, just stretched it. I knew the guys behind me were good, but the guys in front of me, they were, like I said, they were questionable a little bit, and just pulled it out. I mean, I ran out shortly after the line, so I feel like I got pretty much everything I could out of it. And if it wasn't a fuel race, it would have been a tire race. This place eats tires. I think there's over 2 seconds of fall off throughout the run, and you can't go all out immediately. You gotta pace yourself, or else you'll be a sitting duck. So a really technical one. And it's really good to finally win after finishing second like 3 weeks in a row. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally getting another one back up here into the booth, and obviously, we saw you pick up the win there at the All-Star race, and here you are back up and into victory lane here tonight. So starting to build that momentum at the right time. Obviously, starting to feel maybe a little bit more comfortable getting this win. Starting to build that momentum, as you know, playoffs are just right around the corner. Only 3 more races left to go here in the regular season, man. How you feeling going in to these playoffs?
I feel pretty good. I need to get as many playoff points as I can. Like I said, I'm missing week 1. I'll be in Jamaica, but I think I've got good enough pace to get to the final round, and that's kind of all you need. The final round is kind of a wild card. It can go any way. I really like Homestead, so that's the goal. Just get to Homestead, and I'm gonna give it my all. But like I said, I need as many playoff points as I can get. I'm gonna have to use a provisional, but I'd like to give myself a cushion, especially with Talladega and Martinsville in the first round. It could be really chaotic.
Definitely could be a bit of a chaos one right there. Obviously, a couple tough tracks in that first round, and then we head into round number 2. Some pretty good ones there as well, but, another wild card in there, Watkins Glen. We've seen you do really good, though, on those road courses. And then, as you said, you like Homestead, and Homestead a lot like this place. Obviously a little bit bigger, but another very technical racetrack where fuel and tires could play a huge, huge difference maker. And for all of our playoff competitors, they should take high notice of this. Either try to learn what you did here tonight, or try to figure out a game plan for that championship race, knowing that you could be the driver that could be the odds-in favorite to try to win that championship in a few months' time.
Yep, that's the goal. Like I said, it's one race at a time. All it takes is a bad race, and you're in a bad spot. So we're gonna do what we can.
Absolutely. Well, David, heck of a run, heck of a drive here in this one, brother. Congrats on the win here at Chicagoland Speedway. David, who'd you like to thank for such a great run and great drive out there on the racetrack, capturing tonight's checkered flag and the winning bid, 150?
Yeah. First off, thanks to the main sponsor on the car, QH Design. I actually made a purchase from them today. Yeah, they're helping me out with a bunch of shirts and things I got going on. So if you need any shirts, hats, signs, vinyls, anything you think of, reach out to Colton and the guys over at QH. Big thank you to you for putting the broadcast on. I know we didn't have one last week. It was a road course, a little bit of a low car count, but we really appreciate you being here and putting this on for us. I love going back and watching it. Thanks to my teammates. We actually took the podium here with the loose lug nuts. Good job to Joe and Clinton on second and third there. And then obviously thanks to the whole field. Came out here, ran 100 laps clean. No cautions for incidents. So a really big shout out to them. And then thanks to Blair, the winning bid, the title sponsor. He's a huge supporter of the league. And we couldn't really do this without him. So we really appreciate that. And then thanks to my dad watching at home and my fiance for letting me do this.
Absolutely. Well, David, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, brother. Congrats on the dub. We can't wait to see you guys back in action next Friday from Texas Motor Speedway.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Aaron.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, David Traylor Jr. As he picks up the dub here this evening, we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, the 87 of Joe Yakes. Yakes comes home here in P2. Let's get him up here into the booth for his post-race interview. Hey, Joe, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Taking a copy?
Yes, I did. How you doing this evening?
Not too bad, Joe, man. Heck of a run, heck of a drive for you as you're able to park that 87 ride up here on the podium with your teammates and some great strategy. And you're able to put yourself up into position number 2 here this evening, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind right now after the smoke settles here at Chicagoland Speedway.
Well, Second is a tough pill to swallow sometimes because I've been chasing that win all season, but it's always okay to finish second behind a teammate. I mean, we all played the fuel strategy pretty good here in the third stage. I mean, right off the bat, we restarted the stage. I was hitting the clutch and just coasting, and I had a goal. I'm like, I wanted to get to 62. I wound up getting to 64, which gave me a little leeway to just put the hammer down to the end of the race and pick up spots, and we did that, finished second, and I think that's some good momentum. I'm super happy about that, and happy for my teammates as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime your teammates can jump up here and you guys can sweep a race with the amount of talent that's back there behind you guys, just a testament of how good you guys are rolling here, especially with the playoffs just on the horizon here in a few short weeks. So from playoffs getting started, and for yourself, some big points here this evening, a good run, that good momentum, man. How you feeling heading in towards the playoffs?
I feel pretty good. I feel like the momentum's kind of started to shift the right way. I know it was kind of a rough start to the season, kind of just not a lot of great races and just some average finishes. And I really feel like the last couple of weeks, pretty much started right around when we had that All-Star race. I think everything's kind of shifted in the right direction, and I think the momentum's heading the right way. And I'm ready to bring as much competitive energy as I can down to the playoffs and then into the playoffs as well. So it's going to be a fun stretch here.
Absolutely. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of great racing here tonight, man. It was some great racing for yourself as you come home in position number 2. If this race would have been 101 laps, potentially may have been able to steal this win away from your teammate David Trailer as he was just running out just past the start-finish line. And but it looks like he had a couple laps more fuel than what he did, so you're that close to parking the 87 up in victory lane here this evening. But Joe, nonetheless, a hell of a run, a hell of a drive for you, man. Who would you like to thank for such a great performance out there on the Speedway?
Yeah, thank you. First off, got to shout out the teammates there. We got, three of us up here in the top three with David and Clinton, and then also Colton, Jesse, and my dad back there in the field. It's always good to get out and race with them again. And, this is the first time I've been able to do an interview with the new paint scheme here. So shout out to Bump and Run Motorsports. A group of friends of mine got together, formed a little team, and I got Expeditions on the side of the car. That is a game I make a bunch of content for on my YouTube channel, EX87. So big shout out to that. And of course, for you for doing the broadcast and all the admin team for putting this on. It's super fun to come out here every week and put on a good show and have some fun. So
Beauty. Well, brother, that's what it's all about, man. Having some fun, having a good time. And obviously, when you're up here in the booth, when you're able to get a top 3 performance, it makes it that much more fun after a hell of a day like you had here tonight. Joe, congrats on the second place finish, man. We look forward to seeing you back in action in a couple weeks' time. As we're off next week for Halloween, and then we're back on the 7th of November at Texas Motor Speedway.
all right, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then.
Absolutely, brother. Enjoy your week off, and we'll see you back here in the potentially back here in the booth.
Sounds good. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for the 87 of Joe Yanks as Yanks comes home in position number 2 here this evening. Solid run, solid drive there for that 87 ride. As we'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, the number 92 of Clinton Woodby. Let's get Woodby up here into the broadcast booth right now. Hey, Clinton, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Clinton, man, another solid run, another great day here at the Speedway for you as you come home in position number 3 and you round out a 1-2-3 finish here for your loose lug nuts teammates, man. Take us back through this one and what's going through your mind right now.
Well, I'm kind of kicking myself for taking it easy in the first stage. I feel like I missed out on some points there. I just thought if I waited till about lap 10 and started pushing, I'd be able to get around people, but people got too wide. I thought they'd kind of get singled out racing as hard as they were, and they kind of did, except for right in front of me, so I really didn't have anywhere to go. I just started trying to push Joe past, I think it was the 43. We were trying to work him past to just get him an extra point, and I don't know if we got that or not. I think we got to go back and look at it. And so yeah, I think I would have got about 2 or 3 more stage points, but overall I finished way better than I thought I would have a chance at tonight. I'm not really the greatest at these cookie cutter tracks. I'm more of a short track / road course, but I enjoy these tracks. They're just not really my style.
Absolutely not your style, but man, it all works out for you perfectly here in the end, especially with your teammates, David Traylor Jr. and Joe Yakes, right there in front of you as you guys roll in the fuel strategy here this evening and taking a bit of leap of faith into that, hoping that obviously the fresher tires for the guys that had to come back down pit road didn't have enough time to catch up to you, and at the same point in time that you guys still had enough fuel in the tank to get to the end. Obviously, you and Joe sitting a little bit prettier than David there at the end, but man, it was a heck of a drive and a heck of a run there, and obviously fuel being that tight makes things always that much more nerve-wracking late in the race, and especially with those fresh tires blowing past you guys and trying to hunt you back down, trying to gain that lap back and trying to steal an extra spot away from
you. Yeah, once the 43 passed me, I was the first one of us that anybody was going to get to. So I was the gauge tonight, if you will. And once I realized it took him about 8 to 10 laps to get a whole straightaway ahead of me, I had a pretty good feeling because by the time he run another 15 laps, his tires were going to be slow enough to where he shouldn't catch us. So I didn't think anybody would catch us. And once I seen David start to save, that's whenever I kind of backed it down a little bit more too myself, because I've finished way too many times behind him thinking I'm going to win a race, but he saved enough fuel and he was the one guy that didn't have to pit. So anytime I see him saving, he's when I start saving. So I just kind of started going off of him, and about halfway through that run, I looked at my fuel and seen how close I was, and I started thinking, well, I think David pitted before us. I couldn't really remember, but I know me and Joe came in at the same lap, so I knew we were good. And at that point on, just get to the finish and hope another couple guys can't make it because it's close for everybody. It just worked out in our favor tonight.
Absolutely worked out for you guys, worked out for yourself as you're able to come home in that third position, man. Clinton, who'd you like to thank for such a great run and great drive here tonight?
Shout out to my girlfriend Megan and Blair Peterson, the Win a Bid diecast, and all my teammates, Colton, Joe, David. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Jesse and Michael Yakes, I think, who was with us tonight. Joe's father, I believe. I get him and his uncle confused on their names yet. I haven't learned them all yet. But appreciate all those guys for being here tonight and everybody for showing up and you for running the broadcast for us.
Absolutely, brother. No better place to be on a Friday night than up here in the booth watching you guys duke it out and battling here at Chicagoland Speedway. Obviously, we're off next week for Halloween, but we're back in 2 weeks, back to Texas Motor Speedway. Maybe another one of those cookie cutter ones that you don't really prefer, but man, it's going to be a lot of fun seeing you guys slip and slide out there in the Texas heat.
Yeah, we'll see if we can pull some strategy calls again and maybe play a little bit more chess next week.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we look forward to it, man. Congrats on the third place run, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the booth.
Appreciate it, man.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Clinton Woodby comes home in position number 3 here this evening. Solid run, solid drive there for that number 92 ride as Clinton rounds out our podium here this evening, and unfortunately that will bring a close to tonight's racing action. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give a shout out here to all of these amazing drivers, man, putting together such a great race, such a great performance for all of us to enjoy here this Friday evening. And obviously, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button for us right now if you haven't already over here on YouTube. Become a brand new part of the Peacemaker family here today. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the stream as well. It helps us out a ton. Every piece of engagement, likes, comments, shares, man, help push the stream out to more and more and more viewers, man, and bring in a great crowd here to cheer on and watch these amazing drivers do what they love to do on Friday nights. As we'll be back up here in the booth tomorrow night. Hopefully we'll see you guys right back here in the grandstand cheering on our Premium Stock Car Racing League drivers tomorrow evening as Anna Alessandro. Anna says good race, good race, good race. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there by these Full Throttle Outlaws racing drivers. Man, that was a lot of fun. We can't wait to be back here in the booth. We can't wait to be back up here tomorrow night to call some more amazing racing, to watch some more amazing racing, and see what these Premium Soccer Racing guys got up their sleeve for us tomorrow evening. But listen, can't thank you guys enough. Everyone coming in, showing the love, tuning in, and enjoying some great racing here this evening. And we'll catch you guys back here in the next one. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Engines scream, asphalt burns, the grips a gamble. Tires squeal, hearts race, this leads to scandal. Full throttle, no brakes, chasing that checkered. Drafted lines tighter than a bank teller's ledger. Turn four is a monster, jaws wide like a gator.